Good evening. I'm Dr. Gary Quinlivan. I'm the Dean of the Alex T. McKenna School of Business, Economics, and Government. It's my pleasure to welcome you to St. Vincent College in tonight's forum, the hearts and minds of our youth. And we're going to get this going right away because I know there's a lot of questions that have to be fielded by our 8 students up here. So I'm going to introduce to you Rabbi Sarah Perman. So enjoy the program.
Thank you.
All yours.
So I'm Rabbi Sarah Perman. I'm a co-founder and co-chair of the Westmoreland Diversity Coalition. And we are a community-based nonprofit membership organization who's poised to bring people together to celebrate and to promote diversity of all walks of life in our community. And part of the reason that we have everybody together is so that we can hear from our young people in our community on diversity. I also want to thank St. Vincent's University for hosting us today. My job is to introduce our moderator, who is Commissioner Gina Sorelli of Hemphill Township. She graduated cum laude from Philadelphia University, earning a Bachelor of Art degree and Master's of Business Administration. She earned her Juris Doctorate from Duquesne University School of Law. Commissioner Sorelli's priorities are restoring Westmoreland Manor to its former status, addressing the alarming increase in the use of drugs and the rise in the number of deaths from drug overdoses. She works with county agencies and speaks whenever possible to citizens groups to spread relevant information about cause, recognition, and treatment of drug addiction. The most enjoyable duties for her include meeting with and occasionally dancing with the residents of the county at the senior centers, reading to students, and taking part in school programs where she hears the students' concerns and aspirations, and involvement in willpower events for female students. So it's very appropriate that we have her as our moderator this evening. Commissioner Sorelli, you're on.
Thank you very much, and thank you to St. Vincent for hosting us tonight, and thank you to all the students up here. I briefly got to introduce myself and talk to them a little bit, and they are full of energy, so we are in for a fun evening tonight. Now, beforehand, we asked some of the panelists to explain what they thought diversity meant, and throughout the panel discussion, I'll be reading some of their thoughts. And no names are written on these. But diversity is the inclusion of all people, regardless of disabilities and personal experiences, also varying from different races to ethnic and religious groups. Diversity goes beyond the variances in our physical appearances. It's everything that makes two people different from one another, whether it be the culture they're surrounded by or the life they've had growing up. Now, in Westmoreland County, it is no secret that we have a shrinking population. And that's for the entire region. In Western Pennsylvania, the 10 counties in Western Pennsylvania, in the next 10 years, there's gonna be over 70,000 open jobs. Open jobs that we don't have the young individuals to fill those positions. So it's so important for not only Westmoreland, but for the entire region to make sure that we keep our young people here and to attract new people from other parts of the country to move to Westmoreland County. So it's great to be here to get your experiences, your opinions of how Westmoreland County can do that. So first, I'm actually going to let everyone introduce themselves. We'll start over here with Floyd. If you guys can just say your name, where you're from, and what you are studying here at St. Vincent.
Hello, my name is Floyd Nichols, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I attend St. Vincent College and I study biology.
My name is London Smith. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I study criminology and I have a minor in global security policy. I'm a junior and I attend St. Vincent College.
My name is Rachel Sloniker. I'm a junior at Pitt Greensburg. I'm also from Pittsburgh. And I'm majoring in public policy with a minor in behavioral psychology.
Hello, my name is Emily Downing. I am a junior at Pitt Greensburg. I'm originally from Barbados, but I did move to the Greensburg area when I was 13. I'm a double major. I'm studying Spanish and business anthropology.
My name is Maria Franey. I'm from Murrysville, Pennsylvania. I'm studying biochemistry here at St. Vincent College, and I have a minor in public health.
I'm Emily Earle. I'm from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I'm a freshman at Point Park University, and I'm studying communications.
My name is Raylan Welling. I'm from Beaver County. I live in New Swickley Township. I attend St. Vincent College, and I'm a double major in international business and marketing, and I have minors in operational excellence and Spanish.
Hello everyone, my name is Alperen Akşehir. I'm from Turkey, kind of far, and I study business management here at St. Vincent College. I'm a junior.
Thank you guys. So we have Emily, and Maria. Raise your hands. These are Westmoreland County students. So it's going to be great that we're going to get their perspective from growing up and living here, and from everyone else's from outside the county, what they can bring to Westmoreland. So for the first question, it's easy, and you guys can just go down the line for this one. Why did you want to participate in this panel tonight?
So one of the main reasons why I decided to participate on the panel tonight was because when Mrs. King was telling me about this opportunity about diversity, I thought it would be very good to have, since I'm a minority student at St. Vincent College and Westmoreland County as well, to bring that perspective to this panel.
I agree with a lot of what Foy said, and for those reasons, those are mine as well. But growing up, I was heavily involved in the NAACP. I actually served as Maryland State President for the Youth and College Division, so in sophomore and junior year in high school. So diversity is something that's always been close to my heart, and as we evolve as a nation, I think it's something a topic that needs to be discussed.
Personally, I was interested in this because diversity and just inclusion in general has been something I've always been very passionate about, and something I strive to continue working with in my future. And so I thought this was a really cool opportunity, especially considering Westmoreland County is trying to work towards becoming a more inclusive environment. I think that's just a really cool thing to work towards at the moment. So.
I agreed to do this mainly because I had worked previously with the Diversity Coalition, representing Pitt Greensburg at the Unity Rally, at the Unity Celebration, which is again this year, October 24th. And then I think I will be able to bring a unique perspective since I did attend high school here in the county, but I have lived abroad previously.
I think what made me want to participate tonight is the chance to engage in such great substantial conversation with my peers, both those from Westmoreland County and from other counties and other states, and to see what we can come up with and what ideas we can put out there on the idea of diversity and what it is in Westmoreland County today and what it could be in the future.
I just believe that my life and my family is very diverse as a whole, so diversity just plays a big role in my life. And I've lived in Greensburg my entire life, so it's important that I see changes as I grow older that I will be proud of to look back on.
I wanted to participate because although I wouldn't consider myself a minority student in Westmoreland County or in this area, I think it's important when you're not a minority to still be considering diversity, and that's an important topic as well. And I just think it's important to consider, so I thought it'd be interesting to participate and just hear different perspectives.
Well, I wanted to participate because I don't get the chance to do something like this every day, and I thought I can bring some different perspective since I'm an international student from a different country. The student who goes to St. Vincent College in Westmoreland, I guess.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. For the next questions, everyone doesn't have to answer them. If it's a question that you do want to answer, by all means, please grab the microphone, and we'll just keep track of time to see how many we can have answer each question. What do you think is one of the best assets of Westmoreland County? This is an easy one. Don't all jump for the microphone at once. Come on, the county commissioner, tell me what our assets are.
to me, Westmoreland County has a vision for the future as it has a lot of universities in the area. I think we have 5, six maybe in Westmoreland County. I'm not too sure how many universities there are. But there are a couple, a lot, and other counties around the area that not necessarily have as many universities as we do, and look towards the future because education is the future.
I think I can second her statement about one thing that Westmoreland County does have is a lot of universities. And in this area in particular, there's 3 universities in rather close proximity to one another. And that's bringing in a lot of, that brings in a lot of young people into the area that wouldn't come here ordinarily or wouldn't have a reason to come here ordinarily. And that provides a really cool opportunity for Westmoreland County to attract new people and potentially really expand the demographic that's available here. So.
Okay.
What are some of your experiences in this community, whether they're positive or negative?
I'm not from Westmoreland County, but I think I'm from Beaver County, which I think is kind of similar to Westmoreland County in some ways. And I don't know, I feel very comfortable in Westmoreland County and I feel kind of at home here, and I like that it's a rural area because that's what it's like where I live, and I'm used to that. So one of my positive experiences, I guess, is just I like that it's a rural area, I like that it's a small town, I like that this is a small campus. I attend St. Vincent, but I like that it's kind of an area where everybody knows each other and it's very community oriented, I think. And I think that there are a lot of community events, and I think there's a lot of community around here, and it's a place where, I don't know, at least I've always felt welcome. So that's what I like about Westmoreland County.
You're our Mr. Rogers neighborhood. Community is a must for us. Well, you actually just answered the next question that I had. How do these experiences compare to those from where you grew up or where you have come from? So maybe someone else can answer that that's not from the county? Floyd?
Yeah, I would have to agree a bit with Raylan. So I'm also not from the county. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I like one of the ways Westmoreland County differs from where I grew up is everyone seems to be very nice here, which is nice and welcoming because growing up in the city, people you don't say hi to your neighbor really. It's just like not really a thing, or the community might not be as strong as it is here in Westmoreland County, at least from my experience. I don't know if locals feel that way, but at least that's how I feel.
I've had a lot of positive experiences in Westmoreland County, particularly on my campus. Like I said before, I do attend Pitt-Greensburg University, and I think it has been a very welcoming campus. And there are a lot of opportunities there to involve yourself in things that are related to diversity. But as for a whole in Westmoreland County, though I have had positive experiences here and I have really come to like my time here, I've been here for 3 years now, there are things in Westmoreland County that you can't really ignore. We can say that it's a really nice community, and I'm not in any way saying that it isn't, but there are aspects of this community that can certainly be improved upon. And part of the reason we're here today is to talk about diversity. And if we're being honest, Westmoreland County is greatly lacking in it all around. And it really shows in a lot of the interactions that you have on campus. It can be very different, and it's very welcoming. But once you leave, the lack of diversity throughout Westmoreland County is really, it's prominent.
And I can kind of continue on expand on what Rachel was saying. I also attend Pitt-Greensburg. I am a commuter though, so I do live in Greensburg. If you're familiar with the area, I live in Maplewood, neighborhood by Maplewood Church, Our Lady of Grace. Anyway.
You're Commissioner Anderson's neighbor.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am. Yes. He jogs frequently. So there was an issue that had occurred last year, fall semester. In my neighborhood, there was a streak of vandalism, but it really they mainly targeted all of the minorities in our neighborhood. One car was completely, they tried to set it on fire, they ripped the seats out, they scraped the N-word into the car. And so that, personally, that was my first experience of a real negative experience. And my car was actually, the back window was knocked out. So that's one of the main reasons why I think that this conversation is very important to have. We need to bring awareness to a lot of these issues that do happen. As that issue, how that issue was handled, I wouldn't say that I was proud of how the area necessarily handled the issue. We weren't, how the state police, I should say, handled the investigation into the issue and handling the issue. It wasn't necessarily handled to, I don't think, the best of its ability. So I think that these conversations are very important to have in our community.
I can kind of piggyback off of what you said. Being from Baltimore, there's, gobs of diversity. In my class, I think there were so many different ethnic groups, religious backgrounds, things like that. So when I came here, I didn't know that Latrobe was a place. And when I found out about St. Vincent, I was like, okay, I'm interested because it's a Catholic college, so religion was very important to me. And the small setting, I came from a small high school, so I was like, well, that'll be an easy transition. But when I got up here and realized that there weren't a lot of people that looked like me, I don't want to say I was frightened, but I was kind of like, there's this feeling that you have to kind of prove that you're, I guess, I don't want to say worthy to be in the room, but that you can carry your own. That's what it is. And being here, I have a lot of friends who didn't know much about diversity, who some of them were like, well, racism isn't an issue. And I just think that if we talked about it more and we stopped running away from it and being afraid of it, then we could actually conquer some of the issues that are going on. Acknowledge it, bring it to the surface. I had an experience, not as grave as what you went through, but I was in Walmart and all of the people in front of me, I watched the cashier check them out, place their change in their hand. And I was like, okay, when I was talking to my friends, we were just walking up, I go to pay for mine, and she puts my change on the table. And I said, well, maybe she's having a bad day, I don't know, because I would never want to jump to a conclusion because it's such a serious thing. I walked out and I just kind of lingered because I wanted to see if she would do that to the people behind me who were not African American or of a minority group, and she didn't. And that kind of just always stuck with me, and it's like, we're all people, we all go through the same struggles, we all go through the same hardships, and it just makes it that much worse when we can't, be kind to one another. So to me, diversity is essential, and it's something that we have to, bring to the table, even as uncomfortable as it may be.
Thank you. Anybody else? That was great insight. Thank you for everyone for sharing. Within your group of friends, how welcoming are they to new people? How welcoming are they to new people to become friends and be part of your group? Do you find your social circle to be welcoming to new students, whether they're of your ethnicity or of different ethnicity?
I would have to say yes, especially here at St. Vincent College. I was blessed my freshman year to come in contact with a group of people that are very loving and very open to others, and we would do pretty much anything we could to invite other people in our class and other classes to come with us to different events on campus, to sit with us in the CAF. I know there's been many occasions where I've been able to witness my friends doing amazing things, like asking someone who is sitting alone to come join us, inviting someone that maybe they don't actually get that along with that well to come and hang out with us. And sometimes it hasn't always gone well. Sometimes that person has decided that, us and them don't really mesh that well, but there's always the effort being made to include people. And we almost had a little competition of our own freshman year to see if we could continuously break the record of number of people we had sitting at our table, because in the cafeteria here at St. Vincent, all of the tables, most of the tables are these big round tables like you see before you. So eventually, you know, you can only get so many chairs around that table. And my friends, I was so blessed to have them, and they would actually try and see how many we could get to fit that, even when you felt like you weren't really sitting at the table because you were kind of in the second row. But I've definitely seen that continue through my years here, and I know I have seen other groups of people who do that as well and reach out. I know that anytime that I have been sitting alone in the cafeteria or somewhere on campus, a lot of times I will be approached by people and be asked if I would like to sit with them as well. I've seen that happen in the cafe with other groups. So I would have to say, yes, I think that the friends and the people I see here are very opening and very welcoming.
I also think that in some regard we're all a little bit biased on this particular question because we're all college students on a college campus. And just in general, when you're college students on a college campus, people are typically really inclined to make friends because you've just left all of your friends at home and your family at home. And if you don't, then you know it's just going to be not as fun of a time at college. So it's a lot easier for us in our current situation to really branch out and make a lot of friends and expand our friend group easily. And people are a lot more inclined to be inclusive on a college campus. I can't really speak for the greater part of Westmoreland County or anything, because I mean, I've gone out into Westmoreland County, obviously, and I've interacted with people, but I haven't gone out into Westmoreland County with the intent of making friends off of my college campus or off of a different college campus or anything like that. But
at first, I only came for English. I was in the ESL program. I could say pretty much yes, no, my age, my name, that was pretty much it. My other Turkish friend who's sitting right there was kind of translating me some things, but my English is better now. But everybody was so welcoming, and I was learning English with other monks who were from different countries, and I like to say our monks and priests are very welcoming. And my friends, they were inviting us everywhere. Like she said, on campus it's different because of the environment, they're more welcoming. But when you leave the campus, it's kind of different. For example, when you go to mall, it's fine until I start speaking, but when they hear a different accent, you know, that's the time sometimes people react in a different way, I guess.
So to the friend out there, if you want to jump in on this conversation, come and steal the microphone. It's open to you.
One Turkish is enough.
Well, I'm going to read another diversity definition here. Diversity to me refers to a variety of perspectives. Perspectives that are developed through differences in experiences. It has more to do with the variety in which we see ourselves and the world around us than our biological makeup. Diversity presents an opportunity to learn new things. Diverse circumstances and situations serve as incredible educational experiences. Diversity is beautiful, is culture, and overall, just because something is different or diverse, that doesn't make it better or worse than anything else. It simply makes it different. So changing gears here a little bit, when you go off campus, what do you like to do? Where do you like to go? What things do I need to market better here at the county? What things do I need more of here at the county?
I like to go to Walmart.
Go to Target. Even better.
I don't know. I do spend a lot of my time either on campus or I go home sometimes. I don't really go home very often, but I like to go to Twin Lakes. I go there sometimes. I don't really go to the mall, but yeah, I don't know. Some of like the more, I guess, like rural areas, like Twin Lakes, and yeah, I don't know. The place I go most often off campus is Walmart.
Well, that's great for St. Vincent to say that you like staying on campus. I mean, that's a huge compliment to the university.
Yeah, I would probably have to second that. Other than St. Vincent, I think Walmart's probably the other place I would Latrobe. If not Walmart, probably Eden Park.
Denny's.
But I think for the most part, I'm not sure there's too many things for younger people to do, at least around St. Vincent, maybe a bit more towards Greensburg, but not so much in Latrobe. Like, if I'm back in Pittsburgh, there's a plethora of things to do in terms of, going out to restaurants or cinemas or anything like that. But there's not too much here in Latrobe other than really Walmart and Eden Park.
I mean, for St. Vincent, I think some people are missing Falbo's. It's a bar that our students
Great
go.
pizza.
There's a big debate about that. I mean, I've never been there, but I think, my friend group started this thing. They are going to different state parks, and they're doing hiking a lot lately. I haven't had a chance to go with them. But other than that, maybe bowling.
Movies.
Yeah. And like everyone else said, I think we have very good activities. We're like nice friendship group that is enough on campus.
I think at Pitt Greensburg, now I can't speak for St. Vincent, but at Pitt Greensburg it does a really good job of providing things for students to do and activities in that, and other things in that regard to keep people busy on camp, not busy, but like entertained, and give them things to do so that they don't feel the need to go home every weekend or anything like that. There's always something going on. But I think I can agree with Floyd whenever he says that off campus there really just isn't much to do for young people. And even in Greensburg, if you go out on a Sunday, nothing's open. You can't even really get fast food past 10 p.m. So yeah, just in general off campus, your options are a lot more limited.
That's why we're breaking the casino.
Okay. I'm not 21 yet. Yeah.
I think I could speak on what there is to do in Westmoreland County because I went to high school here, and on the weekends you go to the mall, the movies, and do homework. So that's pretty much, but as you get older, I'm not 21 yet, but I know a lot of my friends that I've had in high school who are 21, they go to the bars sometimes on the weekends. But Westmoreland County to do? Twin Lakes? I love Twin Lakes.
You'll find me at the
I
dog
do love
park.
Twin Lakes, yes. We should, more parks. And a casino.
Are you in, and be honest with this question, are you interested in remaining in the county after graduation? Why or why not?
Personally, I'm not interested in staying here after graduation.
Why or why not?
Yeah, there's a casino now. There are some really nice qualities to Westmoreland County, but there is, like I said before, a major lack of diversity, and not just diversity in a sense of demographics or anything like that. There's a major lack of diversity in the sense of any sort of political thought or ideologies. It seems that a lot of people are in the same mindset in this town, and it's not necessarily a mindset that I'm always particularly fond of. And it's not even just evident in the people, it's evident whenever you drive down the street and you see wooden billboards of anti-abortion posters or whole billboards about one specific religion, or whole billboards that are supporting only Republican members. And I am all for a freedom of expression in that regard. But it's whenever it's all you see, and it's so blatant, and it just sometimes it seems like you can't even walk down the street without being bombarded with ideas and views that you don't necessarily agree with, and sometimes it's just a lot to take in.
So the place where I'm from in Turkey is the fourth largest city, and it's like 4 million people. So when I got here, it was I was like, where is the city? That was my situation, and I think I'm gonna move after I graduate. And it's not just because of the subject of diversity. When you go to the bigger cities, there are more opportunities. I mean, of course, like she said, sometimes it's more easy to have your life when there is more different ideas in that area.
Well, I think you guys kind of also answered the second question here. Well, not the second one. The next one is, what do you think could be done to make the community more welcoming? So whether you want to answer that one or the one before, anybody? If I cut anybody off, I apologize. But what do you think could be done to make the community more welcoming?
I think that one thing that can be done to make the community more welcoming is, I mean, sort of as Rachel and even Abram were saying, is making people more aware of other ideologies or other ethnicities or races. I mean, because I think everyone subconsciously has a bias towards, one racial group or religious group or whatever, but like Rachel was saying, when you have a community that doesn't really want to shift or at least hear other perspectives, then that's also what's being taught in the schools, whether they think it's not being taught in schools or not. The way that a teacher presents themselves or something will be presented throughout their work. And I think making people more aware of these other perspectives is important, especially at the fundamental levels with children. It's obviously a lot more difficult to change the perspective of someone who's older, but I think raising children up in a society where they're more aware is important.
Anybody else?
Are you asking about how to make the community better, or how to bring more people to Westmoreland County? What's the question?
Whichever one you would like to answer.
So when you were giving your statistic about jobs in Westmoreland County, how there's going to be more jobs that need filled, what kind of jobs are they?
In all different fields.
Okay. So like I said, I'm from Beaver County, and one thing, so I think that Beaver County and Westmoreland County are kind of similar. Beaver County, I think, has a little more we have a lot of industry as well. Like there's a lot here, like plants.
We have the cracker plant.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah. But Beaver County has a lot of that too. And one thing I appreciate from being from a small town, I mean, my family has chickens in our backyard. So, but one thing I appreciate from being from a rural area is actually one thing I find that a lot of people have a problem with is people that do trade jobs. Which we actually need more of in this country right now. There are a lot of jobs going unfilled, and where I'm from, only about half of my graduating class maybe went to college, but I don't think that was frowned upon where I lived, because those kids didn't just do nothing. They went to trade school and they have really good jobs now. So I think that I appreciate kind of that perspective from a small town. So I think that's one good thing that you would get from living somewhere like Beaver County or Westmoreland County, whereas I agree that there does need to be more diversity, and I think that's a big thing in schools. I'm not from Westmoreland County. Like I said, I can't give the perspective of what it was like to go to Latrobe or Greensburg High School, but I went to Freedom High School. It's a pretty small public high school. I my entire graduating class, I think, was white, like all of us. And so there wasn't a lot of diversity, and there weren't really a lot of opportunities to learn about different things. And I even felt like a lot of the classes at my school were like history classes. We didn't learn a lot of different histories. We didn't learn a lot of different things. So I just feel like that's important to kind of educate, as Floyd was saying, educate people about different opportunities and different races and religions and ideas, and just kind of, it's not shoving anything down someone's throat, it's just kind of giving them something new to think about, another perspective just to see or view or hear. I think people are drawn to small areas for some reasons because it's nice to live, and I like living in a little area, but I personally don't think I'll probably stay in Westmoreland County. Just like I said, I'm studying international business, so I'd like to travel, I'd like to see new things, but I think Westmoreland County is a good place to settle down, maybe, if you like have a family. I think it's a nice area.
And I'll add to that, a lot of my friends as well, when you go to college and in your 20s, you want to move to these big cities, but when you get into your 30s and you want to settle down, you do move back to the suburbs. And you have chickens in your backyard, I have a house across the street, so I live out in the country as well. Anybody else for that one?
I mean, it's not that makes, I need to phrase this right. It's not the difference makes us not diverse, I think. The problem is sometimes we are unable to understand or listen or be open about different ideas. I think that was Martin Luther King he said we must learn how to live together like brothers and sisters, or we can perish together as fools. I think that's really accurate saying.
Well, the biggest goal here that we have tonight is to promote diversity and bring people from all different backgrounds into Westmoreland. So what is your personal ideas or suggestions for us to be able to bring in diversity and inclusion into our county and our community? What would the next step for the Diversity Coalition be?
I think the number one way to encourage diversity and inclusion is just to educate people, because a lot of people's fears regarding diversity and inclusion and things like that just largely stem from a lack of knowledge about a lot of things. And sometimes, I read something not too long ago that actually was talking about ignorance in general. And it was saying there's two types of ignorance. There's the type of ignorance where people genuinely just don't know, and you can tell them, and they will learn from it, and they'll improve. And then there's the type of ignorance where people are aware that they don't know, and they don't want to improve. And they are content in the securities that come with the lack of knowledge. And there are people like that. There are people in this county like that who don't want to improve, but there are plenty of people who also would like to improve and who genuinely just don't know. And I think a really good way, a potentially helpful way of bringing about more diversity and creating a more welcoming environment is to encourage things that educate people just about diversity in general, I suppose.
I definitely agree with what was just said. I think it all comes down to educating people, because some people are just not aware. They're just, I went to Greensburg-Salem, and most of the kids there were white, so it makes sense that they're not really educated on diversity because their entire family's white, all of their friends are white. And I just think it's really important to start with the youth, because it's more common for the youth to want to change and want to spread change throughout their community. In my history classes and things like that, it was a little bit uncomfortable because I felt like they were teaching, I don't know, they were adjusting what they were teaching because there were so many white kids. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm the only black person in the room. It's a little bit uncomfortable and awkward to talk about like slavery and things like that because they don't have the same connection that I do. So I think it's really important to stress diversity in schools and start in schools.
Oh my gosh, please, this is your show. I'm just here asking questions.
Sorry. I just wanted to say, like, to go off what I was saying about educating people too. I think also events like this are nice. But with events like this, what it is a panel of like-minded people talking to a room of like-minded people. Oh, okay, we got one. All right, so a panel of like-minded people talking to a room of majority like-minded people. And wow, that's not a bad thing, because it's encouraging to, it's important to see who is like-minded. It's important to know that there is support out there. It's important to know you're not alone, and it's important to band together. But if you want to affect change, you have to be able to reach those who don't have the same ideologies as you do. And there's a lot of ways to go about doing that. And in schools is a really good place to start. Because starting with young people who haven't necessarily formed. With young people, it's very easy for them to adopt the opinions of their parents, but it's better for them to be educated, not to have the same opinions as I do or anything else, but it's better for them to be educated on the actual facts of issues and things going on in the world and allow them to form their own opinions of it. And that's how you truly cultivate diversity, allowing people to form their own opinions and share their own opinions, their different opinions. And yeah, okay, sorry, I'm bad at ending all these.
No, what you were saying, and I actually, before you even brought up school, that's what I was saying, like the next step for the Diversity Coalition should be to go into the schools and have college students go in and talk to the elementary school, start at a very young age, because the younger generation is more welcoming of everything. So I think that would be a great thing for the Diversity Coalitions. This is great you guys are here tonight, but let's put you to work even more and get you some service hours and go into the elementary schools.
Yeah, and I think like what you were saying just about education, I think the biggest reason, like I said, I live in an area kind of like this, it's not necessarily that people don't want to learn, it's that they don't have the opportunity to have experience with someone who's from another culture, from another religion. I mean, I didn't really meet anybody that had a different religion than I did until I came to college, just because where I was from, people were either like a Christian or an atheist, and that was like pretty much it. So I just didn't really have the opportunity. It wasn't that it wasn't something I was interested in learning. It was that it was never presented to me. So I think if we can give people an opportunity to like have that experience, that's important.
I went to Catholic school, so I definitely didn't get the open mind with religions, but I did go to college out in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia was a huge city and many different diverse groups, and the Turkish population at my university was huge. So a lot of my best friends were Turkey, so I love your country. They turned me on to hookah. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I wish we had more hookah bars in Westmoreland. We should have brought that up. But I'm very excited to go to Istanbul someday to visit them. But to go back to more diversity definitions, the presence of different cultural ideals, beliefs, practices, and opinions in a given group of people, as well as the presence of different mental and physical characteristics. For me, diversity in the workplace is the presence of collective thoughts and ideas from very different backgrounds, whether it be different races, ethnicities, or genders. Understanding that every individual is unique in its own way and recognizing the cultural and social norms of that person's life is not weird, it's just diverse. Diversity is not a destination, it is a journey we can take it, understanding and respecting. What are your hopes for the future? What would you like things to be in 20 years in your ideal community? If we lived in a perfect world, what would it look like 20 years from now in the community that you're living in?
I want every child to have an equal opportunity to achieve everything they want to achieve. And that's asking for so much. No, actually, it's not asking for a lot. It's asking it's not an easy thing to accomplish given where we are now, but I don't know, all I want in this world is for every single child in this country to have every resource available to them to achieve whatever that is what they want to achieve. That's it.
Come on, guys, this is an easy question. What would your ideal community be like in 20 years? Pass on over to Floyd.
I would definitely agree with that. For me, the ideal community would be an educated group of people, not just the youth either, the adolescents, young adults, and even elderly as well. And I do believe too, as Rachel was saying earlier, that in the ideal community, it doesn't necessarily have to be maybe 50-50 in terms of religious thoughts or political views, but I think everyone should have the opportunity to make that decision while also having the education of both or multiple sides as well.
I agree with what Floyd said, but for me it would be the ability to sit with someone who has complete opposite views from me and be able to appreciate one another for what we believe, but not devalue or have an opinion, have a personal stance to where what they believe is wrong. It's just different. And I think that if we could get to a place where we could peacefully coexist with one another and make decisions based upon everyone's interest, I think it would be a pretty cool environment.
Going along that same vein, I think it would be wonderful to have an environment in a community where people can talk to each other and have good one-on-one conversation with each other, especially if they do have very different beliefs and ideas on life, but that conversation is open and it is able to proceed without someone worrying about offending someone else or not being able to say what they really believe, and just being able to have that communication, again, like was said earlier, open and inviting, and something that is an ongoing conversation that we can have in the community. And again, that's something that can promote awareness. When that line of communication is kept open, people are much more willing to talk about those kinds of very important things that are important to them, to their community. And I believe that makes a very welcoming space for people to come in and live there, and also be able to engage in thoughtful discussion.
All right, I'm going to read the last definition I have, and I loved all of your answers, but this one's my favorite. So, I define diversity as the ability to be peacefully coexist in a way that respects, uplifts, and values those that come from different backgrounds, ethnicities, and economic states. Diversity seeks to bring together different groups of people of all walks of life, as well as our ability to value each other in a way that ensures that each group of people are equally represented in our society. I think we're pretty much out of time. I just want to say thank you so much to all the audience members that are coming, and thank you so much to our panelists. I think we can all be in agreement here tonight that our future is very bright with all of you guys leading us forward. So thank you very much for taking time, and we have our closing remarks. And I will now turn it over to one of our board members, Christine Demovich, apologize, for our closing remarks.
I just want to say again, thank you to the panelists for coming and giving us your hearts and minds, because that's what we really were looking for this evening from the perspective of young people. Thank you, Commissioner Sorelli, for facilitating the discussion. And thank you to St. Vincent College and Kelly King for all they did to prepare and to make us feel welcome. And thank you all for coming, because I know that the tornado maybe kept people away. Maybe people got swept away. I'm not really sure. But we also want to say thank you from the Diversity Coalition. We have 3 more panels, youth panels coming up. One is at Westmoreland County Community College tomorrow evening. So if you're so inclined, or if you know people who weren't able to attend, please steer them that way. On October 9th, we have another panel at the Jeanette American Legion. Same time, all the arrangements are the same. And we have a fourth panel at Penn State, New Kensington on October 16th, and we'll welcome you up there as well. And please don't miss the Unity celebration on October 24th at Lakeview Lounge. Is this still called Lounge? I'm not really sure. But thank you again for coming. Thanks, everybody.